Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we're talking about an actress who, for a brief moment in the 1980s, was absolutely everywhere, and then, just as quickly, she seemed to disappear. Now, if you were watching TV back then, you definitely remember Remington Steele, and you remember Laura Holt. But what happened to the woman behind that role, Stephanie Zimbalist, after the show ended? Because while her co-star, Pierce Brosnan, went on to become James Bond, her story took a very different path. If you remember Remington Steele, you already know the setup. A talented female private investigator cannot get clients to take her seriously, so she invents a fictional male boss to attract business. And then, through one of the great TV twists of the 1980s, that fake identity suddenly becomes very real when this mysterious, charming con man walks into her office and decides to become Remington Steele. It was clever and it was stylish. It had romance, mystery, and comedy, and that perfect kind of 1980s sophistication. And I remember when the show debuted, it generally felt like something special. Now, this wasn't just another detective show. It had this energy to it that made it stand out immediately. The chemistry between Stephanie Zimbalist and Pierce Brosnan was incredible. The writing was smart, and for a while there, the show became one of NBC's biggest hits. In fact, during its third season, Remington Steele broke into the Nielsen Top 25 television programs in America, which was a huge accomplishment at the time, and critically the show was respected too. It earned strong reviews for its writing and sophistication, and even picked up award recognition, including an Edgar Award for one of its scripts, and Emmy recognition connected to supporting performances. But here's the thing people sometimes forget today. As much as Pierce Brosnan eventually became the breakout international star, back then, Stephanie Zimbalist was every bit as important to the show's success. Honestly, she was the show in many ways. Laura Holt was intelligent, capable, funny, and completely believable as someone running an elite detective agency. And for 5 seasons, Stephanie Zimbalist became one of the most recognizable faces on television. But when the series ended in 1987, everything changed. Now here's where things usually go one of two ways. When a hit show ends, you expect the lead actor to do one of 3 things: go bigger, go blockbuster, or just stay in the spotlight. And in this case, we even had a direct comparison. Pierce Brosnan eventually becomes James Bond. That's about as Hollywood trajectory as it gets. But Stephanie Zimbalist? She took a completely different path. Instead of chasing more TV fame, she went back to theater. Not as a fallback, but as a choice. In interviews, she's been very clear about this. Stage acting was always where her heart was. It was what she trained for. It was what she loved the most. So, after Remington Steele, she leaned into that world fully. We're talking about productions like The Cherry Orchard, Steel Magnolias, and The Lion in Winter. These are serious, respected, actor-driven work, and she didn't just dabble in it, she built a long, steady career doing it. Even recently, she has continued performing in professional productions, including appearances at places like the Westport Country Playhouse, something she's spoken about with real enthusiasm in interviews. And the more you read about her now, the more a pattern starts to emerge. This wasn't someone who fell off the map. This was someone who quietly stepped off the treadmill. A more recent profile paints a picture of a life that's intentionally low-key, living in Los Angeles, staying close to nature, and largely out of the celebrity spotlight. And honestly, there's something kind of fascinating about that, because in an industry where everyone is trying to stay visible, she chose not to. Now don't get the wrong idea here, she never stopped working. She is still acting, still performing, just not in the way that keeps you on magazine covers. One example, a more recent stage production where she portrayed Zelda Fitzgerald in a live theatrical event, something artistic, intimate, and very much in line with the kind of work she's gravitated towards over the years. And I think that's the key to understanding her career. She didn't walk away from acting, she just walked away from that version of acting. And going back to my own experience for a second, When I first watched Remington Steele, I don't think I had the language for it at the time, but looking back now, what stood out about Stephanie Zimbalist was how grounded she felt. She wasn't flashy, she wasn't over the top, she was just good. And maybe that's why her career took the path it did, because she wasn't chasing attention, she was chasing the work. So, whatever happened to Stephanie Zimbalist? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. She kept acting, she kept working, she just did it on her own terms. And in a way, that might be the most successful outcome of all. Now here's one last picture of Stephanie Zimbalist with two of my favorite actors, Walter Matthau and Harry Morgan, from a TV movie called Incident in a Small Town from 1994. Here's where I want to hear from you. Do you remember watching Remington Steele when it first aired? And did you ever wonder what happened to Stephanie Zimbalist after the show ended? Let me know in the comments. Also, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to my channel, where I talk about the movies, music, and TV shows that I loved growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. As always, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and have a great day.